I was 6 years old when I first did it. I was at the store, and I believe it was like a Western Auto Store or an Economy Auto Store. Those kind of were two interchangeable brands. They were part hardware store, part auto parts, part garden store, and they sold bicycles and red radio flyer wagons. Not to speak of Daisy BB guns, but on this day, I was not after those things. I was after seeds, yellow squash seeds. The store was less than a quarter of a mile from my house, and it was on US 78 in Austell, Georgia, at the bottom of a gargantuan hillside populated with graves. It was a cemetery. And if you turn left out of that store and get on the main highway, you drive 1/10 of a mile to Amico Station, Boyd's Amico Station, and then you would go left onto Cemetery Street. Now, when you got to Cemetery Street, you go up that hill, and on your left would be those cascading graves. And at the top of the hill, you would find Medlock Avenue. If you turn right on Medlock Avenue, then the second house on the left looked like an old farmhouse with a gray steep roof, asbestos gray siding, and a porch that went from one side to the other side of the front of the house. And then there was a small stoop porch on the side with 3 steps leading up into a door to the kitchen. That was the most used access and egress from the house that we ever had. But outside that porch, about 20 feet away, was a tool shed or a shack where we kept our garden tools and our rakes, our shovels, our water hoses, our little push mower. And beside that shack is where I first experimented. I experimented with the activity of planting seeds, yellow squash seeds on that particular day. And after I planted them every day, I paid attention to them, I watered them, I watched for weeds that would compete with them for supremacy, challenge them for the place in the ground. My little garden was supreme to me. Now later would come okra, cucumbers, a few beans and tomatoes, but that first harvest was squash. First planting was squash seeds. And the day after I planted them, there was nothing happened. The week after, really, there was nothing happened. But then a couple more days, and there was a sprig that came out of the ground. And then after a week, another week, I saw a little sprout came out of the ground. And then that sprout had sprouts. And then there was this little bud, about a pea-sized bud that came, and it began to grow. And it formed into a yellow oblong vegetable. And it was all the result of my decision to buy seeds in a little paper packet, put them in favorable circumstances and conditions, pay attention to care for them, and then voila, the squash appeared. Each Friday now, what I'm doing is I want to provide seeds of a fruitful Jesus-type life in your thoughts. I want to plant them in you. I'll give you the packet of a particular characteristic of what the Bible calls the fruit of a recreated divine life. And we will follow that path of life together. It's a Jesus life. My name is Phil Underwood, and I hope to see you here every week as we begin to look at what it means to plant divine seeds in our life, follow the care of those things, and then just see what happens. You know, I didn't particularly make that squash, but I put myself in a position where the squash could be made. I put the seeds in a position where the squash could be made. And you don't have to worry in your life about doing A, B, C, D to please God. What you've got to understand is it's not about taking things out of your life, but putting things into your life. And I want to teach you how to put those things, the seeds of greatness, the seeds of divine life, into your life. Like I said, I'm Phil Underwood, and I hope you join me here every Friday for Fruitful Fridays. I'll see you again next week when we're going to talk about the fruit called love. L-O-V-E. L is for the way. Well, that's for next week. See you there. Bye-bye.